Okay, so some of you maybe have students who have taken the GMAS. Some of you maybe have students who are coming into third grade who have never taken this test before. The Georgia Milestones Assessment System, what we call GMAS or Georgia Milestones, is just a comprehensive assessment spanning from grades 3 through high school. Those EOCs that they take are kind of all a part of the same assessment system in high school. Georgia Milestones measures how well students have learned the knowledge and skills outlined in the state adopted content standards in English language arts, math, science, and social studies. Students in grade 3 through 8 take we call the end of grade, not the end of course, and they only take it in ELA and math. And our 5th graders, you'll see, will take the science portion as well, but since COVID, we are no longer doing the social studies portion. Good morning. So you'll see that in our schedule as well. So it's designed, what the purpose of it is designed to provide information about how well students are mastering ELA, math, science, content standards. Importantly, it helps us kind of provide students with that information moving into the next grade level, especially for here. This one's really important. These are the dates that we will be taking the test at Julia P. and across Bullitt County. This is our testing calendar for the entire county for GMAS. So English Language Arts is the one that we start with. We start on Wednesday the 20th. So we come back from spring break, we have a week, and we have Monday and Tuesday, and then we start on that Wednesday. So we have a week and a half after spring break. The first day is always the ELA 1, that's the extended writing piece. So that's when they are given a prompt. They're either asked to read and compare 2 stories, it's different for everyone, or to ask like an informational explanatory piece on whatever topic they decide is gonna be great. And so this is the extended writing. They're looking for paragraphs, for sentences, and that is the only thing they're allowed to do on that day. Thursday and Friday, we'll move into ELA sections 2 and sections 3. This is more of the reading comprehension, where you read a short passage and you answer a question about that. Or they give you like some grammar syntax questions. They don't do a whole lot of the grammar anymore. A lot of it is comparing and contrasting stories, reading for information, citing evidence back in the text. So that's what Thursday and Friday are. And then Monday and Tuesday of that next week, we have some makeup days. And then we move into math. So for 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, we'll move into math Wednesday and Thursday, and they'll do math section 1, math section 2, focusing on standards that are in their math content curriculum. That's different for each grade level. And 5th grade, we'll take Friday is another makeup day, and then Monday, May 2nd, only 5th grade will take both science section 1 and science section 2. And then the rest of that week, the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th will be makeup days. Also, that's a time when we're gonna get our virtual kids in, and they'll be testing as well. What kinds of questions are on the GMAS? For ELA, that extended constructed response is only on that writing portion. So students should develop an informative and explanatory or opinion argumentative essay, citing evidence from the text and using standard language conventions. Citing evidence from the text is really, really big. They like to see that one. So making sure that you've read through the passage that they give you and you can pull information, use quotation marks, all of that kind of good stuff is what they're looking for. ELA 1 and 2 is a selected response, like a multiple choice. Constructed response, and usually those are very short, like a sentence or 2 if they do it on this side. Evidence-based response, they have had this where they have the paragraph, and then on this side is like, which sentence from this paragraph is the answer? So citing that evidence. Drag and drop, or the paste is like a, they literally take words and they pull them into a passage and fill in words for the passage. So that's what drag and drop paste is. And then the drop down list literally is just you click it and you drop down and you select the right one. Math is selected response, multiple choice. Multi-part, so they give you one problem and there's several parts of that problem, you might have to solve it for this one, and then on the next page you'll say, now take this problem and multiply this. Multiply the answer that you got in part one. Multi-select, they can select more than one answer. Drag, drop, and paste is the same. Keypad input, which just means that multiply 7 times 4, what's your answer? And you write your answer in the given section in a drop-down list. Science is very similar. Selected, multi-part, multi-select, drag and drop, keypad, and drop-down list. This, if there's not anything else that you do with your kids, is the biggest resource that you guys are given, because Georgia Experience Online, I will take you to it. It is a resource that the Georgia Milestones puts out, and this slide will have that link in there as well, where you can run through a tutorial, which for those 3rd graders, we do this in class as well, but it helps them become familiar with the DRC platform. So it helps them kind of see what the questions will look like, see what the formatting is, like how they drag and drop and select, so that none of that is a hindrance when they actually get to the test. Because formatting sometimes is one of the biggest things. So this is what your students see when they take the test. We do this one, and theirs actually has an actual section that says secure test. Let's see if it's gonna work this morning. We'll select this one, and then you don't have any of this standard online tools unless your student has an IEP that would allow them for some technology enhanced items or a 504. You'll select grades 3 through 5. All right, this is exactly what they see when they pull it up. The test practice, following test, they'll click on the test. And even your 4th and 5th graders, I mean, it's been a year at this point since they have seen this exact platform. It goes through so that you can kind of see these are the instructions they're given before every single test. It tells you how to finish, the tools that they have, and then you can click begin test. But it will give you practice questions. So this is what it looks like. They have to be able to understand that this is the page. So if this is the passage, they have 2 passages here. So read the first passage, they're gonna read this passage, but they have to click through. Now read the second passage. Like a real book, it gives them those pages, and they flip the pages back and forth as they like. They can use the highlighter, if they'd like to do that, and then they go to answer questions. So it goes through, it uses the same passage for several questions. Gives you the writing task. This is what it looks like, and this is the space that it gives them. If I can get it, here we go. Gives them here. They have a writer's checklist that they can use, which kind of gives them some tips. Make sure they introduce the topic early. It does kind of give them these, check for correct grammar. So I'm not going to go through this whole thing, but you can kind of see which one. This is the drag and drop. I'm just dragging and dropping. So that's kind of, it lets them play with the test, which is the biggest piece. So what else can I do besides practice? Have your child go to bed at a reasonable hour. I don't think these are things that you guys haven't heard before. Make sure they eat breakfast. We have breakfast here for free every day. Or if they don't like that, make sure they have something on their stomach, because it's a long period of time between when they get here at 7:15, 7:50 to 11 o'clock when we're finished most days. Try to have a great morning at home. Let your child know, hey, I'm really excited. I know you can do this. Be confident in them. As long as they have a soft start to the day, that's one of the best things that you can do for them. And help them relax when they get home in the afternoons. It's been a long day, so let them get outside, do something that's not Georgia Experience Online. Don't do that for the next day. You're gonna burn them out. They've already been on it for 3 hours. during the day. So, and then make sure your student is present and on time. On time is the biggest thing, because if they're late and we've already started that test, they're gonna have to do it on the makeup day because they can't go into that secure testing at that point. So those are some of the biggest things that you can do for your kid. When they get the report back, it won't look exactly like this, but there'll be sections that look like this. And this page, if you want to go back and review it when you have an actual report in your hand, that would probably be easier. But it kind of goes through and it shows you like content area. It explains what each section is, because sometimes this report can be pretty tricky to look at. It does give them scale scores, their writing score, where they got points for their writing, and it also gives them a Lexile measure. It also gives them a Lexile range, which kind of says, hey, your student should be reading books in this range. For this one, it's 810, and they give you a Lexile range of 715 to 860. So that range is pretty large. And when Miss Wiggins is in here, she helps kids find the right books for them. And this gives us really good information going into the next grade. Math is the same thing. It gives you, instead of a Lexile, it gives you a national percentile, so that you can kind of see where your kid is on that as well. Again, I would look at this more when you had the scores in your hands. Right now, they're saying preliminarily, we will have our scores and know about retesting May 13th. I don't hold them to that because they've never had it back that fast, but if they do, that would be wonderful. Usually you guys get scores, unfortunately, like the following year. Like it's usually the fall that we usually get those official reports back after all the retesting has been done, that we get those, which seems like a really long lag time. On this, you'll see some extra resources for each grade level band. Again, all of these are hyperlinked, so the Georgia Experience Online, understanding the GMAS achievement levels. It kind of gives you, some information about beginning, developing, proficient, and distinguished learners. A Q&A, GMAS parent Q&A is this, and then more information about parent Lexile. And this also gives you information about where I can find books on your child's, like find a book, Lexile find a book site. That kind of helps you, if you find that out, say, hey, let's go look on here what some books would be that are in your range, which is good for all year long. So these are all hyperlinked. There's a study guide, a resource guide. The testing blueprints tell you, they're very good in saying, all right, for the reporting categories, there are going to be approximately this many points on key IDs, deals, and details, which makes up for about 30% of that test. The writing and language portion, it talks about that. So it kind of gives you a breakdown of what item types are going to be. There's going to be 37 selected response and technology enhanced questions. One constructed 2-point constructed response, 1 4-point extended constructive response, and that 7.1 is the extended writing piece. So that's for ELA, and then it goes also into math as well. So that's if you want some extra reading at night. That's something good to look at for each grade level. And then achievement level descriptors. It kind of gives a little bit more detail into the beginning, proficient, developing, distinguished learners.